All right, hey everyone, welcome back to the 28-day Get Hired Challenge. I'm trying to help you get hired in cybersecurity, and it is day 8. And we are really getting into it now because today we are talking about common skills in cybersecurity. All right, everyone, welcome back. It's day 8 of the 28-day Get Hired Challenge. I'm Alyssa Miller, and we're trying to get you hired in cybersecurity. Today, we are talking about the common skills that you will see and probably leverage in your time in a cybersecurity career. Now, this again cannot possibly be an exhaustive list. I could never ever hope to put all of the needed skills or all of the skills that could possibly be helpful to you as a cybersecurity professional into one list. These are just some of the common ones. And so it's important to have that disclaimer because as we talked about in day 7, there are some people out there who tell you, well, you must have this skill set or you must have that skill set. The reality is everybody has their own background, and some of us tend to project our own background onto somebody else. As I said last time, I was a software developer, and that helped me a lot when I got into cybersecurity because, well, naturally I focused then on application security. That was what I knew. But there were lots of people in cybersecurity who don't know how to program at all. So for me to say you have to know programming to be in cybersecurity would be kind of foolish, right? But let's just dig right into this. Let's start off by talking about some of the technical skills that can be helpful to you in a cybersecurity career. And the first one is software development and programming. Now, there's a couple reasons why this might be helpful to you. First of all, you might find that you're working with a lot of software developers in your organization and you're trying to get them to adopt secure coding practices. What better way to be able to do that than if you can actually understand the world that they're coming from? However, you'll also find that in many roles in cybersecurity, you might still have to do some programming yourself. We're writing scripts all the time in different languages. Python tends to be really popular with cybersecurity professionals. So you may find yourself having to write at least some level of code. So it's always good to have that background. It also helps when you're trying to research or troubleshoot problems. Or if you're working in digital forensics and you're trying to sort through something, or you're in incident response, and you're trying to understand why software behaved a certain way, or understand little indicators that you might be seeing. Sometimes it's helpful to have that software development background. Another background that could be helpful would be networking or network administration. Understanding how computers communicate, how all these different devices communicate over a network. Understanding all the various services and protocols that are at play when we're talking about an enterprise network inside an organization, or understanding even how systems and networks communicate across the internet. These are skill sets that can be super important to you. Maybe you're working in firewall administration and you're having to, custom code different firewall rules. If you understand the networking that goes on behind the scenes, it makes that a whole lot more helpful. And again, back to that incident response. If you understand the indications of what you're seeing in logs or somewhere else about certain things that are being received by different services or protocols on a particular server. That can be very useful. Another one that's gaining a lot of ground, and this ties back a little bit to that software development, is cloud and cloud native security. Understanding the technologies in AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, all of the different cloud providers that are out there, if you can understand what's going on and how software is being deployed in the cloud, how to make that software secure, how do you deal with serverless technologies like functions and all of those things, understanding that is crucial. In fact, for a lot of people who I've had conversations with and we've talked about, some skills, technical skills that they could build, cloud is one of the big ones where in a lot of organizations, there's just not a lot of knowledge yet around how to secure the cloud. Now that's kind of crazy. You think about cloud's been around for more than a decade, but that's the reality of it. We still need lots of skills and lots of knowledge and expertise around cloud because cloud is evolving so fast. Another area that's evolving fast, surprisingly maybe to some, is cryptography. Cryptography kind of, was really big for a while, then it really slowed down, and now we see things like cryptocurrencies, and now we're talking about quantum computing. Cryptography is one of those areas, thinking about how do we encrypt things? And how do we protect the things how do we protect those secrets? How do we manage keys? All of these things, having an understanding of cryptography, of course, that one seems almost natural. But yeah, in cybersecurity, understanding cryptography can be crucial. Social engineering is another skill set. And yes, I do call it a technical skill set because it is very much a technical skill. Understanding core concepts of how do you establish a pretense, and how do you build upon that? How do you discover different elements of a person and use that to your advantage? That comes in handy whether you're doing social engineering tests, maybe in different organizations, especially consulting firms sometimes get into that. You might be writing phishing tests for your organization. You might even be doing just security awareness training and having that ability to understand how social engineers think, how those attackers who are attempting to phish our organizations, how do they play off of people's emotional responses and such. Those are all important concepts that are really helpful to the cybersecurity professional. Physical security is another one. There are a lot of cybersecurity professionals out there who are doing physical security assessments. I've got a number of colleagues who literally get paid to break into banks and try to rob them blind. That's what they do. So, and physical security isn't just breaking through doors. It might be, understanding how to gain access to secured areas through other means. Sometimes social engineering plays a part in this. Those are all skills that can be super helpful when we think about a role in cybersecurity. Now, here's one that it might kind of escape you why this is so critical at first, but when we talk about industrial control systems, you might think, well, it's just more software, it's just more hardware, but industrial control systems are their own unique animal. The software and hardware at play, the requirements of those environments is so vastly different than what we're used to in other software environments that it is truly its own skill set. And honestly, this is a really, really needed market. If you can develop skills and understand the true nature of industrial control systems and then how we can secure them, there are people out there looking for you all over the place. And then finally, there's radio communications. Obviously, more and more, we are dependent on wireless technologies for communications between systems, between devices. So being able to understand how things communicate, whether it's Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, you name it, those are great skills to have, whether you're a pen tester, whether you're trying to defend those communications channels inside an organization, whatever it is. So those are some of the technical skills that you might find useful. Again, not an exhaustive list, but let's talk about some of the other skills. Sometimes people refer to these as soft skills. I hate that term. These are important skills. And when you say soft skills, a lot of times people kind of use that to downplay or, their importance or whatnot. But let's talk about some of the other skills that aren't necessarily technical skills, but they're things that are super helpful. First of all, just being able to conduct research, understanding the actual concepts of conducting research. And it's more than just going out to Google and typing in a search. Now, that is a part of it, but research is so much more methodical than that. And really understanding how to discover data, how to normalize different portions of data together and to be able to analyze it in a meaningful way. All of this plays a part in research. Problem solving is another thing we talked about. We talked about that, I think, in day 5. Problem solving is a key aspect of cybersecurity. We're trying to solve problems every day. And while that's a hard thing to measure as a skill set, being the type of person who wants to dig in, who will go after a problem until you find the solution to it, until you discover what the root cause of a problem was. That is a great, terrific skill set we need in all areas of cybersecurity. Collaboration is another. You're going to be working with many different teams across organizations or across your customers, and you need to be able to work collaboratively with them, understand how to motivate others whose, their priorities may be very different than yours, but you got to get them to understand how it's valuable for them to help you and to gain them as your ally. And with that comes empathy and emotional intelligence, being able to understand other people and how they think and feel based on their situation. This is one that is a tough one for some people. Some people they don't have that natural sense of empathy. But if that is something that you're fortunate enough to possess, leverage that, because it can be so crucial, again, when you're trying to establish allies in different portions of the business. Organizational skills, of course, are always important in any role, but being able to really just organize your day and prioritize your tasks and complete them and produce a quality product. And in producing a quality product comes those writing skills. Writing skills are perhaps one of the most undervalued yet most important skills when it comes to cybersecurity. I don't care if you're working in GRC, if you're working in incident response, if you're working in vulnerability management, you are going to need to be able to communicate succinctly in writing. That means conveying your thoughts in a way that people can understand what you're saying. And a lot of times, speaking and presentation skills can come into play there too. Not everybody fits that. Not everybody has a gift for speaking and presenting. So when you do have that skill, that is another one that can be so important when trying to fit into a cybersecurity role and really can differentiate you sometimes. So be aware of those as potential other assets that you may carry with you. All of these skills are important in cybersecurity, and it is so important that we recognize where we're strong, where we need to grow, because when you're talking to prospective employers, those are the kinds of things they're going to ask you about. And they're going to want to know, where are your strengths? Where are your weaknesses? What do you do well? Where can you continue to develop? So be sure that you start to understand, and we're going to talk in upcoming episodes about how you really get to know yourself in these spaces. But give it some thought. And I want to hear from you in the comments below. Let me know one skill out of the ones that I just described, or maybe one of your own that you think is a really powerful skill that you possess today that would make you an asset in cybersecurity. And one of you is going to win a free book. We're going to randomly take one commenter and give you a free copy of my book, Cybersecurity Career Guide. And with that, I want to remind you as well that all this month, Manning Publications is giving you 35% off all of their titles. All you need to do is go to their website, enter that discount code you see up there, or just follow this link or use that QR code. They'll take you and automatically enter that code for you, and you can save 35% off of any Manning title. So be sure to check that out and be sure to keep coming back here. We have so much more content to go through. We're only on day 8. We have 20 days to go, and I'm going to keep trying to get you hired in cybersecurity.